I love it. I kind of definitely want to see it. And we know if this does happen, the card is going to be insane because they're not going to put Joe Schmoes on the card. I mean, this is going to be the best of the best in front of the White House. So that could potentially happen, and Jon Jones likes it too.
Aspinall's amazing. He's unbelievable. He's fast for a heavyweight. He's big. He can grapple. Black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got knockout power, but he's never been in deep water. Ever. That's kind of crazy if you look at his career.
Joe Rogan didn't hold back when sharing his thoughts on a potential Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall matchup. Speaking on his podcast and across social media, Rogan made it clear Aspinall is not someone to take lightly. In Rogan's eyes, Aspinall isn't just skilled, he's a real threat. With knockout power, speed, and elite-level athleticism. Rogan described him as a dangerous force in the heavyweight division, known for ending fights. Quickly, often, in just over 2 minutes, Aspinall has built a reputation for clinical, explosive finishes. Rogan believes if the two ever meet in the octagon, things could get serious fast, and it might not go the way some expect.
Donald Trump just said that he wants to hold a UFC event at the White House next year for America's 250th birthday. And not just any UFC event, he wants to hold a championship UFC event at the White House next year. And this got me thinking, what a perfect time for Jon Jones to come out of retirement and fight Tom Aspinall at the White House next year for America's 250th birthday. What is more patriotic? What is more American than the best
Joe Rogan has made it clear. Paul Aspinall isn't the kind of opponent you come back to after time off, especially not just to build on your legacy. In Rogan's view, if Jon Jones steps into a fight with Aspinall without being fully prepared, both mentally and physically, he could be risking one of the biggest losses of his career. Jones may be hailed as one of MMA's all-time greats with a legendary run at light heavyweight and a heavyweight title under his belt, but Rogan's caution highlights how dangerous Aspinall truly is in today's heavyweight division. Meanwhile, talk around a potential showdown has reached new heights after U.S. President Donald Trump floated the idea of holding a UFC event right on the White House lawn as part of America's 250th birthday festivities. UFC President Dana White quickly fueled the buzz by sharing a photo of himself. Trump and Rogan during a past visit, captioning it, UFC White House, my boys. Rogan reposted it, to only adding to the hype that something massive could be brewing
against Jon Jones. I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. I've been watching Jon Jones, as I say, since...
What began as a meme-worthy idea quickly gained traction and turned into a serious topic of discussion. News outlets started reporting on it, and soon the MMA community was buzzing about the potential of the UFC hosting an event at one of America's most iconic landmarks, the White House lawn. If such a spectacle were to take place, it wouldn't just be a casual exhibition. The expectation is that it would be a massive event, featuring the sport's biggest stars, and few names are bigger than Jon Jones and Conor McGregor. Reports suggest Jones is open to a high-stakes return in a once-in-a-lifetime event like this. Could be exactly the kind of historic moment that pulls him back into the spotlight. Since suffering an injury in 2023 and remaining inactive since, Jones has lingered in uncertainty. But this kind of headline-grabbing opportunity might just be the spark he needs.
Is there a fighter in MMA or the UFC that you just find absolutely insufferable? Because for me, it's Jon Jones, and there is no close second. Jon Jones defended his heavyweight title against a retired 42-year-old Stipe Miocic back in November. Ever since then, Jon has been saying, what has Tom Aspinall done to deserve to fight me? You know, besides Tom being the interim champ and having a defense with that belt, Jon has just found every possible way to not fight Tom, even...
Michael Bisping recently weighed in on the growing speculation during a segment on his YouTube channel, suggesting that if the White House UFC event becomes a reality, both Jon Jones and Conor McGregor would likely headline the card. According to Bisping, there's only one matchup that could truly tempt Jones to step back into the spotlight, and that's a clash with Tom Aspinall on the White House lawn. He portrayed the potential fight as a symbolic battle, England versus the United States. More than just a major main event, Bisping sees it as a monumental sporting moment, one that blends athletic rivalry with cultural and even political significance. In his view, this wouldn't just shake up the MMA world, it could become a historic, global event that reaches far beyond the cage.
If the fight will never happen, gun to my head, I would have said John Jones will beat him right now. Tom has never been pushed into those championship rounds. That first time you feel that, I gotta get up off that stool after the third round. You needed to fight Tom now when he doesn't have that experience, especially as John Jones.
John Jones hasn't completely ruled out the possibility. While he hasn't officially agreed to face Tom Aspinall, he has shown interest in competing on a potential White House fight card. This lines up with past remarks where Jones made it clear he's only interested in fights that carry legacy-level importance or come with major financial and historic stakes. On the other side, Aspinall remains vocal about wanting the fight. He's been pushing for a title unification bout against Jones. He's determined to prove he's the undisputed heavyweight champion. Since capturing the interim title in late 2023, Aspinall's dominant performances have only intensified calls for Jones to step in and settle the debate once and for all.
If you're a sprinter and you take PEDs, you become faster than people who are not taking PEDs and you win a race, that's okay. You're a cheat, you've won, they'll take your title off you or whatever, that's fine. If your job is to hurt another person, physically hurt another person, which could potentially redirect the rest of their life post-fighting, you're an absolute piece of shit and you should never be able to fight again if you have any PEDs.
The anticipation surrounding a potential showdown continues to build. Tom Aspinall has stayed vocal and ready, repeatedly calling out John Jones after each victory and further cementing his place as one of the most dangerous threats in the heavyweight ranks. His rare mix of size, speed, and surgical striking presents a stylistic challenge that few can handle. Analysts have noted that Aspinall's fast, aggressive style could disrupt the slower, more calculated rhythm Jones has relied on in past fights. Now 38, as of July 2025, Jones is no longer the youthful force that once ruled the light heavyweight division. Time away from competition, injuries, and intense public scrutiny have reshaped how fans and experts view him. Still, Jones remains one of the most technically gifted and versatile fighters the sport has ever seen. If he returns focused and fully prepared, a bout against Aspinall could deliver one of the most intriguing strategic matchups in UFC history.
Think of the star Aspinall would have been if we just would have got that fight over with right away. Think of the star Ngannou still would have been for this company if you just would have had that fight and moved it on. And then you have an epic rivalry between those two, Aspinall and Ngannou. Like the years and years of amazing heavyweight fights could have been happening if John Jones just wasn't a petulant child, and if the UFC wasn't just the, oh no, it's fine, he's just finding himself, like just so annoying.
Beyond the fight itself, the cultural and political backdrop of a potential UFC event at the White House adds even more gravity to the matchup. Donald Trump has long supported combat sports hosting early UFC events at his properties and maintaining a well-known friendship with UFC president Dana White. With Trump stepping back into the political spotlight in 2025, discussions around merging high-profile sports with national events have resurfaced. The UFC seems eager to seize that moment. A clash between John Jones and Tom Aspinall on such a grand stage wouldn't just be about championships. It would be a global spectacle with massive implications. Everyone involved, from fighters, promoters to analysts, recognizes the magnitude of what's at stake. This could be the kind of event that changes how MMA is viewed across the world, taking it from sport to cultural landmark.
Why is that fight not happening?
Well, it could be for two reasons. It's either that John Jones is using a strategy to have more money.
You could say it, GSP. Go for it. Come on, say what you want to say.
But I think that's why he's doing it. You know, if he's doing it just to hold the title, to serve the wave, this is not, and if he has no intention of coming back, that's not right, you know. But if he does it for as a strategy to have more money, I can understand why. But I think that the UFC needs to do something to get things moving.
While the idea of a UFC card at the White House isn't officially confirmed, the momentum behind it is gaining traction. Dana White has embraced it, and high-profile figures like Joe Rogan and Michael Bisping are treating it as a legitimate possibility. Tom Aspinall continues to push for the opportunity, while John Jones remains the central figure whose decision could make or break the event. Whether Jones ultimately agrees to face Aspinall in such a high-stakes setting will likely come down to a mix of his physical readiness, the financial offer on the table, and his desire to further shape his legacy at this stage in his career. Jones may not be motivated by titles or rankings alone. Spectacle like a White House showdown might be one of the few events grand enough to draw him back into the spotlight.
I'll just come out and ask you, do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. John Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again, he's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody. And, I think the reality is whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know, you'd have to ask him that, but, he's 38 years old and I don't know.
Do you think if it was someone like Alex Pereira, he would fight them? And it's maybe Tom that he specifically doesn't fancy them?
Conor McGregor has also entered the conversation, expressing interest in being part of the potential White House event. According to Michael Bisping, McGregor is eager to finally square off against Michael Chandler, with their long-anticipated matchup possibly serving as the co-main event. McGregor reportedly called the White House the ideal stage to settle their unfinished business, adding fuel to the already growing hype. Meanwhile, Dana White is still weighing the logistics and possibilities. Whether the event happens on the White House lawn or at another historic venue with similar significance is still up in the air, but the ambition behind it is clear.
I'm going to retire John Jones without even fighting him. He said that nearly a year ago today. Tom Aspinall said those words. And never have words aged better in the MMA world than Tom Aspinall saying that about
Tom Aspinall and John Jones may not have faced off in the cage yet, but that hasn't stopped their names from becoming deeply intertwined in headlines and fan discussions. The anticipation is so intense that even Aspinall's own father recently weighed in a candid conversation. He acknowledged the growing buzz surrounding potential training alliances and what they might signal. He noted just how passionate MMA fans can get, especially when something as subtle as a gym partnership is seen as a sign of deeper rivalries forming behind the scenes.
UFC White House is crazy, dude. How's that even a thing? Is that allowed? Like, how is Donald even allowed to do that? It'd be kind of gangster, though. Chandler versus McGregor. It'd be kind of gangster. Aspinall, John Jones wants to fight him. It. Classic. Back in the testing pool after 2 weeks. Bro is a troll and a half. He's not having his title back. It just can't be happening. All the ground trip would be sick.
He shared how entertaining it was to watch fans craft wild theories just based on who John and Tom were training with. According to him, people were quick to assume that someone like Craig Jones was secretly helping. Tom Aspinall developed techniques to counter everything Gordon Ryan might have taught John Jones. The speculation, while a bit over the top, shows just how deep fans are diving into every detail, treating training partnerships as strategic chess moves in a rivalry that hasn't even officially begun.
John Jones retires 2 weeks ago. No fights, no updates, just fades out, and no word on Tom Aspinall. Now out of nowhere, he's back in the USADA testing pool. And why? Because the UFC is holding an event at the White House. Not for the top contender.
This added yet another layer to the already tangled web of rivalries, rumors, and dream matchups. Aspinall's father noted how quickly the internet turned simple training footage into full-blown narratives. In his words, it's funny. John Jones' coach and Craig Jones are longtime rivals. When people see Tom training with Craig, they're going to assume Craig's out to dismantle whatever Gordon Ryan might be teaching John. It's a perfect example of how storylines in combat sports often extend far beyond the octagon. Training partners, old feuds, and imagined game plans all get woven into the conversation long before any fight becomes official.
Or not wanting to fight, you think, or do you think it's a combination?
Well, I can tell you some stuff about the money situation, but I'm not sure I can say it on camera, so I will tell you that after. I think I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest, and I think he knows it.
My opinion, I think it's a huge risk.
Yeah,
it's huge risk. You're younger, you're athletic, you hit hard, you pose problems. We don't have much data on you.
All of this has unfolded in the wake of John Jones officially stepping away from the sport. With his retirement now shaping the landscape of the UFC heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall has stepped up as the undisputed champion. Jones' exit immediately sparked speculation. Was this the beginning of Aspinall's dominant era? Or simply a pause before Jones inevitably returned? Aspinall didn't wait for answers. He made it clear he was ready to carry the division forward. He's consistently voiced his commitment to being an active champion, with plans to fight frequently throughout 2024 and into 2025. One of his core beliefs has always been about keeping the division moving. Inc. staying active, defending the title, and elevating the standard of competition for everyone.
And say, no, you're not going to take this. And do you know what John Jones did? You have it. I don't want to fight. You can have it. This is unbelievable. The greatest of all time. What a load of shit. I'm sorry. Never going to call that him the GOAT ever again. Because being the greatest of all time is not just about winning. And that's what John Jones doesn't understand. It's about how you conduct yourself throughout the whole of your career. Are you willing to fight the biggest challenges, the biggest tests, go in there and test?
After months of speculation and uncertainty, Tom Aspinall has finally broken the silence. His next fight is officially on the books. While the UFC has yet to make a public announcement, Aspinall shared during a recent appearance on the 1on1 podcast that everything has been finalized behind the scenes. According to him, key meetings have already taken place, and both the date and opponent are locked in. Fans may still be waiting for the official word, but behind closed doors, the next chapter in Aspinall's journey is already underway.
Hey USA, what's new with you? Kinda weird, but Trump wants to host a UFC fight in the White House. I have so many questions, but let's start with why. So next year in 2026 is our 250th birthday. And because of that, Trump wants to make a huge celebration and he wants to make it unforgettable. So he was like, how about we hold a UFC fight in the White House? And UFC is okay with that? Oh yeah, Trump is good friends with Dana White, who is the boss of UFC. Back in 2001, Trump helped Dana White and let him use his casino, Trump Taj Mahal, to host a UFC.
The meetings are done. I've got a fight. We've got a date. We've got an opponent. Aspinall revealed during the podcast. While he didn't go into specifics, his comments strongly hinted that an official announcement from the UFC could be just around the corner. One name that continues to surface in speculation is Cyril Gane. Given his high ranking and established presence in the division, however, no official confirmation has been made. Until the UFC reveals the full details, fans will keep guessing. But one thing is clear: Aspinall isn't waiting around for John Jones. He's already moving forward, ready to keep the heavyweight division active and evolving.
I would even say this, and I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I would say that John Jones ducked Tom Aspinall so hard that he went through self-destructive measures just to avoid a fight with this man. That's how good Tom Aspinall is. And everyone you're going to list off is going to get beat.
Well, we'll see.
As Tom Aspinall continues to look ahead, Joe Rogan has once again revisited the debate around a potential fight with John Jones, reaffirming his earlier concerns and adding a fresh layer of analysis. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan reacted to Jones's comment that a matchup with Aspinall wasn't big enough. Rogan firmly disagreed, saying Jones is underestimating both the scale and importance of the fight. While talking with UFC bantamweight Corey Sandhagen, Rogan was direct. He sees Aspinall as a legitimate star and believes dismissing him is a mistake. This is a money fight, Rogan emphasized. People always ask me, just walking down the street, is John Jones going to fight Tom Aspinall? It's the question I get over and over. Rogan didn't just frame it as a fan favorite bout, stressed its broader importance. Only for ticket sales, but for John Jones's legacy and the clarity of the heavyweight championship picture. A unification fight between Jones and Aspinall, in Rogan's view, would be far more than just another main event. It would be a defining moment for the sport.
What do you make of Tom Aspinall and all the things that he's been saying about you?
I think he should go on and have a wonderful career.
Do you think that he needs you?
No, I think he needs me. When you want something bad enough, and if you get it, it could be the worst thing that could ever happen to you. I love being the ultimate troll. He's not in a position to excite me. Because if I whoop his ass, it's going to be the next guy. There's going to be a whole new fan base of somebody who everybody believes in.
The timing of Joe Rogan's remarks couldn't be more telling. John Jones is being linked to potential legacy-style appearances, like the rumored White House UFC event, Aspinall is actively preparing for real title defenses. It highlights a clear contrast in trajectories. Jones appears to be leaning toward rare, high-profile showcases, while Aspinall is committed to building a legacy through consistent competition and championship defenses. This split in direction only makes the lack of a fight between them more noticeable. Despite the buzz and anticipation, the two have yet to meet in the octagon. And while Aspinall has repeatedly expressed respect for Jones in interviews, he's made it clear that his priority is staying busy, defending his title, and pushing the heavyweight division forward.
He's like the longest running heavyweight champion in the history of the UFC, isn't he? But he's only like he hasn't fought anyone. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. You know, I think John gets a lot of money for being champion. I think the sponsors and that are paying him a fortune, and I think he's just dragging along, keeping the belt as long as possible because it's worth that much money to him. I mean, John's often struggled with tall people who are good boxers. I imagine he probably, if he did fight him, he would.
Dana White has hinted that a meeting with Tom Aspinall is either on the books or already happened during International Fight Week. The UFC's annual summer spectacle could serve as the perfect stage for a big reveal about Aspinall's next move. Despite all the buzz surrounding a possible White House event, nothing has been confirmed or finalized on that front. What is clear, though, is Aspinall's steady climb and his clear intent to defend his interim title against anyone who steps up. If a showdown with Jon Jones never becomes a reality, it won't be because Aspinall sat on the sidelines. He stayed vocal, stayed ready, and upheld the standards of a true champion, focused on proving himself no matter who's across the octagon.
I don't know, did you see his series of tweets over the last few days inferring that basically he told you guys that he was retired last November and that your efforts to make the Aspinall fight were basically futile?
It's not true.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you wanted to ask me?
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. But what do you make of him coming out and saying saying contrary to what you've said there?
I don't know. I'm telling you the truth.
There's also a symbolic layer to the training link between Craig Jones and Tom Aspinall that hasn't gone unnoticed. Grappling enthusiasts were quick to point out Craig's long-standing rivalry with Gordon Ryan, who just so happens to be part of Jon Jones's training circle. Too many fans has created an intriguing web of indirect connections. Now, guiding Aspinall sparked theories that he might be tailoring strategies not just against opponents, but potentially against the style and tactics of Gordon Ryan himself. After all, who better to dissect a grappler's blueprint than one of his top rivals? While those ideas may be exaggerated, they reflect how fans love to draw lines between fighters, coaches, and camps. Even without Aspinall and Jon Jones stepping into the cage together, their paths keep crossing through coaching relationships, interviews, and shared affiliations. The speculation isn't just about future matchups. It's about the flow of knowledge, how one fighter's tactics might echo across gyms and continents.
For and everything, I just got told that I was fighting and I went along with it, and that's all I know.
Yeah. In your mind, were you expecting a contract? Like, were you to that point where you were thinking that a contract could come through at any moment?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was expecting that. Yeah, but didn't happen.
And I don't know if you saw this or not, but Dana White told a very prominent MMA journalist, Oscar Willis from the Mac Life, that the fight
very prominent
was done. He said it was finished. The fight was done. When did you start to feel like, maybe the fight's not done?
In the midst of all the uncertainty surrounding Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall stands out for his clear focus and determination. While Jones's name continues to hover over every discussion about the heavyweight title, it's Aspinall who's actively moving the division forward, training hard, staying sharp, and preparing for whoever comes next, even if that opponent hasn't been named yet. The evolving state of the heavyweight scene fueled by Jones's possible retirement. Behind-the-scenes negotiations and the jiu-jitsu rivalries has created a shifting landscape. What began as a simple training partnership between Tom and Craig Jones now carries deeper meaning. It's become part of a larger storyline, one that blends elite grappling minds, championship ambitions, and unresolved rivalries. Even if Jones and Aspinall never meet inside the octagon, the tension between their camps, their coaches, and their legacies keeps fans talking. So what do you think? Will this story find closure in the cage, or remain one of MMA's biggest what-ifs? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more on this ever-changing fight. game.